appreciate it. It's wonderful to have you on board, and I hope you like this picture. And I've got our drawing up, and I'm going to lay my drawing down when we put the colors on, so you can see how to do that. Better not to do it on an easel, as the colors will really run. So I'm going to put it flat. And we'll want 2 containers of water. So, they can be large or small. Just one, you will need 2. One, you'll want to have some really clear, clean water. And the other one is just for rinsing brushes. I have a number of brushes. I have anywhere from pencil, anywhere from, I think this is a 3. I have 2 3s. I have a 6. No, that's a 5. I have a 6. That might actually be a 9. I'm looking upside down. I have a 3/4 brush, and I have a 1-inch brush. So it's up to you, whatever size you want, whatever turns out to be your favorite. And after a few times of painting, you might find that one brush works better than other brushes and you're happier with it. So that's why I say, or your favorite. So you'll come to like one more than another. And of course, our colors are a number of different colors. So in our art today, I have 2 pictures. The same picture, this one is blues and, well, it was red, but pinks, a little bit of green and yellow. And then I tried it a little bit darker. So this is why I said this is your choice for colors. If you want to go darker, you can. But we'll need to put on the colors fairly dark anyways for them, because they are going to dry 20 to 30% lighter from when you put them on. But we'll put those colors on first before we paint our silhouette. And you'll want some paper towel, always paper towel handy to dry things up. As I said, colors, any variety of colors. So it's wide open. If you want to use brighter colors, lighter, darker, more blue, more green and red, that's entirely up to you. I'm anxious to see what you end up with. So it's always fun to see the finished product. And so we're going to do this beautiful picture of these 3 wise men, and nice back color, any color you like. So that's why I've suggested some colors: yellow, green, blue, and it actually was red, but because the red and I think the red blended a little bit and turned out that it looks a little more purple. But if you want to use purple, that's fine too. So as we put that on, you want to put those colors on fairly dark, because they're going to dry 20 to 30% lighter than when they originally go on. We'll also want a blow dryer. So if you've got some kind of a dryer for your picture, because we'll want to dry your background before we put the silhouette on. And so we're at the top of the hour, and I thank you. Honestly, I'm blessed to have you with me, all of you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your interest and for trying something new and trusting me with your ability. You all are actually your artists just simply because you're here. So honor that within yourselves and share it with other people. So if you paint something, don't be afraid to give it away, because if you've made it once, you can make it another time. So let's just get into art mode, and we'll just take 3 deep breaths. And as we take a deep breath, we'll take a really deep breath, and we'll hold it at the top. Find something in the room that you like, that gives you joy, or think about something that gives you some happiness. Give yourself a smile at that point. And then when we release and really drop those shoulders down. So we'll do that 3 times just to get into art mode. This is 1 hour that is a gift for you. So honor that gift and allow yourself the presence of being here. So our first deep breath in, and hold it, and find something to smile about. Lots to do in a second or 2, and release. Really put some effort into that. I'm still here. And so second deep breath in. Really give that full attention and release. And our third deep breath in. And hold it at the top and release. And give your shoulders a little massage if you want to. Just release some of the tension. We hold a lot of tension in our necks. That's what holds up all of our thinking. So give that a little bit of a stretch if you can. And with that, we'll get going. So we have paintbrushes, water, we have the 3 wise men, we have our canvas, our paint, our blow dryer, and we're ready to go. So with that, I'm just going to turn my camera. There we go. So now I have my canvas. These are the 3 wise men. What I want to do with these 3 wise men is I want to get my whole paper wet. So not just a little bit damp. So I'm using my 1-inch wide brush. If you have a 1-inch wide brush, great. If not, you can use a smaller one. It would just be more strokes. And with my water, I'm just dipping my brush in water and I'm going to get the whole canvas wet, all of it, right over top of the wise men. Now, when we're wetting our canvas, if we turn our canvas on an angle, we'll be able to see if there are any spots that we missed. But we want complete coverage of the whole thing. Now, if we have a lot of water pooling at the bottom, that's what the paper towel is for. So I'm going to tip my canvas and just have a look in the light. And if I see any bare spots, I see one over there. So if you see any bare spots, just go ahead and add water. So we want lots of water. You want it good and shiny. And I'm drying the excess off the bottom. I have a whole pool of water here. Having lots of fun with water. And then I'm going to tip my canvas. Actually, I'm going to take my canvas and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to tip my camera. I'm going to tip just trying to tip my camera way down. So I've got my canvas laying flat on the table. It's laying flat. And I want to start to use paint. Because this is really wet, there's lots of water on there. Just making sure, just going over it one more time, lots of water. And I'm going to start with the color, I'll start with the color yellow. So I want a nice bright yellow. If you have a medium yellow or Hansa yellow, that's okay. But I'm going to put this yellow on so you can see how bright that is in the corner. Nice bright yellow. I think I'm going to put some more yellow just here on the hands of the 1 wise man. And I think I'm going to try and do thirds. So I like to do things in odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, so that our eye visually looks different places. You see I've got a nice bright yellow blotch over in the corner as well. Well, there's 2 different variations of this. As I had mentioned, that there are different things you could do. This is yellow, blues, and greens. And this is more reds and blues and a little bit of green. So this is where I said you can choose your colors. It's entirely up to you. So we have yellow on. Now I'm going to move to blue. And I'm just using a cobalt blue. And again, lots of water. Put that blue on. I want to have the colors go right to the top edge, right to the side or the outer edge. And where there's little gaps in the sleeves or the arms of the wise men, I might want to tap a little bit of color in there as well. So again, I'm going to go 3 places. So there's 1, there's 2. And if you want to use a different blue, whatever blue you've got is fine. And down the bottom. So there's my 3 blues. And you can see it's starting to pan out a little bit, spread a little bit. Some is lighter, some is darker. This is a background, so it's not about perfection, but we do want to ensure that any outside edges have color on them. I'm going to add a third color. I'm going to add purple. If you want to add red, that's okay. I'm putting purple in the other corner. It looks a little bit red and pinky, but mine is purple. A little bit of purple up here, top. Still making sure that my outside edge has color. And purple in a third spot. So that's 1, 2, and a third spot. So maybe I'll pop some down in here. And lastly, I'm going to use green. So I want a bit of green in here. Got some green. I'm just using Hooker's green. Maybe a little bit at the back of that fella. And some green on the outer edge. Maybe a little down the bottom. So no two are going to look exactly the same, because now what we're going to do, once we've got that color on there, I'm going to lift my canvas. I'm going to lift up my canvas, and I'm going to let it start to run. So I'm turning it around and around and just letting those colors run. So as it comes to an edge or a corner, if it starts to pool a little bit, I can use a little bit of paper towel and just absorb that excess. So you see I've got lots of water on there, so I've got lots of pooling. And if my colors start to get a little bit darker than I like while it's still wet, I can use my brush and I can pick up that fresh yellow again. And we've got almost a kaleidoscope of colors happening in the background. So if you're happy with the way the colors are and you don't want to blend them anymore, that's the point where we stop, where we just stop and we just leave it the way it is, with it laying flat, and then we'll use the blow dryer. So if you have an excess of dark colors on there and you want to lift some of those up, You can go ahead and just use paper towel and absorb some of that if you like. And I'm going to mute my phone, just or my volume, just so you're not hearing the noise of the blow dryer. But this is the point where we will dry this, and we'll need to come back together once it's dry.
Hi, Cathy. Can I ask a question? Hello?
So hopefully you've got yours dry at this point. You can tell if your canvas is dry using the back of your hand. If it's cold to the touch, it's probably not completely dry yet, so you may need to blow dry it a little bit more. And if your paper, if you didn't have it taped down on all four edges and it's starting to fold a little bit while it's still warm, just bend it a little bit and it will straighten out beautifully. So on our picture, our wise men have some spots that are going to show up that we want to be sure that we leave them the background color, that we don't color them in. So at this point, you'll need a lot of water, a nice wet puddle of black paint. And I believe I sent out at the mixture yellow, red, and blue. If you don't have black, if you mix those three colors together, you'll get a very dark black-like color. So with our black, we're going to outline those areas on the outfits that we want to stay, that we want to leave the background color. So if I work with my middle Wiseman, he has a space at the back of his neck that we want to leave white. So I've painted around that section that I want to leave white. So I've just painted around the outside. So with this, working with the same center Wiseman, he also has an opening on his sleeve. So I want to paint that around the outside. So I've left a gap in the middle behind his head, and I've painted that section on his sleeve. So that's all I've left at this point with my middle Wiseman. So I'm going to move backwards to the first Wiseman, and he has two spots on his uniform or his wardrobe that I want to leave with the background color showing. So I just want to paint around the outside of those. Then I know when I paint, I'm going to leave those areas in color. If I move to that back, still staying with this first Wiseman, if I look at what he's holding his gift. And he's using his hand to hold that gift. And there's a little gap in the center where there's a triangle there where his hand will be bent in an upward position. Now that we see how that works with the hand, the center wise man also has a gift he is holding, and there's a little triangle there as well. So we just want to, with a fine stroke, just paint that little triangle. And by marking these first, when we start to paint the rest of the body, the rest of the outfit, if we don't paint over that, it will be very clear. That's what's happening with the hand. And we have the third wise man, the last one, also has that same triangle where he's holding a gift. And on that third wise man, he also has the triangle where, I'm just trying to see it on an angle here, where there's a gap between his neck and his turban. So let's stick with that. We're almost at halftime, and I will read the card at halftime, but let's stick with the third wise man with the crown that's above his head. You see there's a little gap above his head. So we'll paint in that crown, but we'll leave that gap between the top of his head. You can paint the top of his head if you like, and the crown. So there's a space in between that we want to leave. So we can paint in that crown. And if it gets bigger or more pointy, that's fine. If it's not completely even on all sides, that's okay. This is just practice and trying background colors with the silhouette. So there we have the crown on top of the head, and you can see that there's that nice color between the crown and the head. So this is step by step, 1 minute at a time, one stroke at a time, one piece at a time. We're not trying to capture the whole thing I'll read our card. We are at halftime, believe it or not. It says, and this is for everyone, it says, I am a light worker in disguise. I don't have to talk about it. I can just be it. So I think that if you're a light worker, then you have spiritual awareness and you don't always have to make that obvious. You're just in the business of being who you are spiritually. So that's, I am a light worker in disguise. I don't have to talk about it. I can just be it. So just being who you are is wonderful. So we're going to continue with the same Wiseman and still with black. Everything we do from this point on is black unless your signature is a different color. And we'll start to fill in the top part of our Wiseman. So he has a bit of a turban there. So we're going to paint that turban in. I'm leaving that little spot, that little triangle that I did. I'm leaving it. I'm not painting it. And then I can do around the outside of the silhouette, his beard, right down to his neck, to the top of his outfit. And I can fill all of that in black, except that little piece that I did the triangle. Now your black might, if you're using gray your black or darker color, your gray may turn a little bit gray and you may want to touch it up a little bit, but we're just doing the silhouette at this point. So right down to the top part of the outfit. So I'm outlining and then just filling it in with black. And we're doing one at a time because it gets easy to paint over a spot when you get going too quickly. So we're just going to do them one at a time. If it happens and you cover in a spot that you didn't want to cover in, we can still do lifting off and clear that spot. Watercolor is very forgiving that way, that we can lift it off. But that was the reason that we did the little triangles to begin with, was so that we could see where we needed to do our best to stay away from that edge. And we can do the arm if you're that far, his sleeve and his arm. He's got quite a wide sleeve. And his arm to his hand. So we're leaving that triangle. And we're painting that gift. Now below that outfit, there's another band that we'll paint black. So we're leaving a gap and painting a black line, which you've drawn, which already was there. And then we're doing another band below that. So we have the nice colors coming through in between. And there are the legs, or the robe that he's got, a little bit of wrinkle in that robe. And it comes to a nice square at the front. And it doesn't have to be perfectly square. And from the bottom of that robe, we'll fill all of that in all the way down to the bottom where he's standing. And I'm sticking with my number 3 brush. I know I'm making a lot more strokes than if I used a wider brush, but there's some angles that I want to be sure that I'm slowing down enough, and a smaller brush ensures that that happens for me anyways. And this lucky fella has some pom-poms on the bottom of his outfit. So we're just going to do a little string and a pom-pom. He's got 3 of them on the back and 2 on the front. And from here, let's move to our center Wiseman. And I'm going to start with the crown. So there's the crown on top of his head. I have a little triangle there, which is the space between his turban from his head and his neck. So I want to avoid putting any color in that triangle. So I'll just trace the face and his beard and his neck. And then I can complete the center without filling in that triangle. And if you fill in too much and you think that triangle is not bright enough, you can do lifting off. So just using a damp brush, not wet, damp brush, you can lift off a bit of paint, and whatever color is underneath, once you get the black off, that color will still be there underneath. And then carrying on down the body, what I want to do is make sure I go around that rectangle that I've painted. That's part of his sleeve. And I'm going to carry that black down right to the bottom. Just outline that ridge on the bottom. And then I can fill all of that in all the way up, matching, meeting the other black. Before I do the bottom part, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do his arm. So between the body and there is another gap in the sleeve. So he has a white sleeve, but there's a gap in the middle. And then I'm going to paint his hand, leaving that triangle that I painted. And his gift has a break in the middle. Now the wavy line underneath his robe, we're going to match that wavy line with black, leaving a gap in between. So I've just done this, a matching wavy line underneath. And then I'm going to fill in the bottom. So you'll see there's a nice color in between those, in between that gap as well. I've got a bit of blue and a bit of purple. I'm not sure what colors you have. So I'm still here. I'm just letting some of you catch up. And we have our third king. So we'll start with the crown. We've already got the little triangle done where his hand is, where his gift is, and we've got the rectangles done on the robe. So we don't want to fill those in, but we'll start with the crown. Which is just sort of a half moon shape. And it has, maybe these are little gold amulets, I'm not sure, but they just look like little, a stick with a dot on the top. That's part of his crown. And then we have his hair coming down and the silhouette of the face and his beard and his neck. And we can just outline right to the top of the sleeve on the one side, and on the other side, I'm just going to outline with black his turban coming down. Or cape, I'm not sure which it is. And then carefully, I'm going to paint and just avoid those rectangles. I don't want to paint on top of them, so I'm just going around. So I'm filling in everything, the head, the crown, the face, the beard. Just filling it all in black. Just coming down as far as where I painted so far. Avoiding those two rectangles. And we can work on his hand, his sleeve. So he has a wide sleeve and a small hand, small arm coming up to his gift. And then the gift itself. And I'm going to trace the outline of his outfit all the way down to the bottom on both sides, leaving that white, or sorry, it's not white, but leaving that little band in between. So there's another little band that we're going, that we're going to leave and not paint. So we've got that trailing piece of cloth at the back. And then we've got where his outfit ends. Now, underneath that cloth, leaving that space, I still want to leave that little space. I want it to be a triangle shape, but I'm going to use my brush and black paint and just make a black line, still leaving this gap at the side. And under that, one more line to finish the bottom of the outfit and joining it with the other one beside it. And I'll come right across the bottom, matching my lines together. And filling in the bottom. So the different variations, this one's a little bit softer and the colors, they're a little bit more blended. The example is a little lighter blues. And this one that I've done has some more hard lines on it. So you can see there's a little bit more edging, which tells me that it would be a beautiful picture if you put, before you put your wise men on, going forward, if you're going to try it again, is to paint a scenery in the background, to paint something like this in the background, and then put your wise men on top of it. So that's something else you could do. There's lots of different varieties or things you can do. Like I said, if you're going to do it again, if you're not entirely happy with your picture the first time around, you will have access to this video, so you can do it again in different colors. But you know, there's lots of different varieties, so lots of different colors that you could add. So different varieties. This was, as I said, has a little bit more harder edges. So what's left to do is to decide, what does your artist signature look like and where are you going to put that? So if I'm going to put mine on there somewhere, I think I'll stick with the black and I'll work on the front of my picture and just put my initials right at the front. Just makes it look like it's part of the picture. But if I'm looking at that picture, I know that picture is mine, because that's typically what I like to do, is to paint, to make my signature part of the picture. But I hope you enjoyed today. Bye-bye.
Cheers.